Hello, powerful creators. My name is Amedo, and welcome to Manifest with Amedo. So, I wanted to talk about self trust a little bit. I was reflecting on what qualities, what is it really when we say self trust? What is that? And usually, the way I reflect on things and teach on things is I look back at my own life and I think about, okay, at what point did I become aware of even the concept of self trust? Can you talk about how to manifest SP? So, see, I have so many master classes linked in my bio right now on the topic of manifest SP. But here's the good news too. Self trust is so important on your journey of manifesting SP. When I coach my clients, that's one of the things we're also going deeper into how to develop self-trust in your manifestation journey. So this is going to be still really good for you. My journey with growing my self-trust or becoming even aware of what that was, because before I knew about the law of assumption, all I was told to have trust in and faith in is God, right? Jesus. It's my background. I have a Christian background, and it was mainly something outside of me. Have your trust in God, trust in the pastor, trust in the healer, the prayers of someone. Have faith. So the faith was the trust was always projected outside of the understanding of who I was back then. And the understanding and awareness of self-trust only came into the picture for me when I started reading about manifestation. And I would love to hear from everyone here, like what's your journey with self-trust, right? When did you even become aware of the importance of that? So I became aware, oh my gosh, I had zero trust in myself, really, because no one told me or taught me that that was something that I needed to create. Honestly, just a few months ago. Isn't it interesting? Salty, isn't it new for you because you came into manifestation, like you started learning about that? So you're like, oh, there's something like self trust. And I guess in some back end way, we learned about self trust in a sense of when you go to school, you study, you trust yourself that you can maybe pass an exam. A lot of times we're hoping we don't even trust that. Or you trust yourself that you can learn a job well and you can execute the job at some point. You get a new job, you don't know how to do it, but you trust that you can learn. Maybe it's even sometimes unspoken. You're not aware of it, but you're like, yeah, I think I could do that. That's technically self-trust. You're trusting yourself that you don't know something, but you can know it, you can learn it. And a lot of people actually sometimes they don't trust themselves that they can learn something. They feel like maybe I can, maybe I cannot. And then some people are like, no, I think knowing myself, I can do that. So for me, I have 2 degrees. I did my undergrad and my master's. And every time I'm looking back, I'm like, okay, how wasn't I aware of self trust and I was able to, move from West Africa to the US at 19 years old and trust that things were going to go well, that I was going to get a degree. And then another one, right? Been seeing lots of video today about being unapologetic in who we are in imagination. Ooh, yes, Kati. That's actually, yeah, unapologetic. That is the word. Whew, that's an element of self trust right there. And so I was thinking about how I did all of those things. And I think I've always projected, oh, it's God. Oh, it's Jesus. It's not me. I was able to come to the US. I was able to finish school, study. I think I had a 3.5. Oh, man, I can't remember. It was pretty high. I was summa cum laude. I forgot all the academic terms for my master's degree, actually. It's like I was watching my life without really fully connecting with it, without fully sitting down and acknowledging myself and saying, good, you did well. You finished your master's degree with all the issues you were having in life, right? Worrying, how am I going to pay the master's degree? I finished well with a really high GPA, but I don't think I ever sat down to acknowledge myself. And I feel like if I did that, I would have started understanding that I was creating evidence that I was trustworthy, right? And we all do that when you teach yourself something, or you go get a job and you're doing it well, you've learned, or you learn how to drive a car and you drive the car, that's you technically creating evidence for yourself that you are indeed trustworthy. And something interesting happened when I came into the law of assumption and manifestation. And it became clear to me, ooh, okay, first of all, I'm gonna commit to myself, right? And what self are we talking about? Am I committing to the old Amado self, or am I committing to a new version of Amado that is, like Kathy said earlier, unapologetic in going for her dreams, right? In allowing all the resources she needs for that dream to happen. But what's the self that I'm committing to, right? When we think self trust, a lot of people get confused because I think a lot of times we're thinking of the weak human side that maybe gives up easily, quits easily, get desperate, get tired, doesn't want to do it anymore, is not comfortable. We think of that self. We don't necessarily think of a much bigger inner self, inner presence, who we are at the core. And for me, when I say self trust, I mean both, really. I think a lot of times we're giving up too easily on the human side. I mean the inner powerful self plus the human self. They all go together, right? So I'm suffering from giving up and experiencing a lot of exhaustion. Yeah, Gemini. I'm sharing this topic because, I've been posting about self trust because I've been having conversations around it. And I've had a few people send me comments around, oh, yeah, trusting myself that I can create the life I want. I can manifest the specific person. I can manifest the money. I can pretty much take control and design my life. It's hard to believe that I can do that. So it got me thinking a lot about self trust. And I am creating a business right now. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my business, my coaching business. I'm learning. I'm investing in myself, in my learning, and showing up. All of that, I was thinking about, okay, would the older Mado who had no idea about self-trust, would I have even done this? Right. And I thought I probably wouldn't even have started on taking action towards this dream. And it got me thinking about all of you here today who even if it's a little belief in the law of assumption and your ability to create your reality. I want you to realize that you can celebrate yourself because you've done something that a lot of people don't even know how to do, or they don't think it's possible to go, oh, maybe I can create my reality. Let me test it. Let me try it. Because the old me, gosh, I don't know if I would have even done it. I would have even tried it if it had come to me back then. My brother and I often talk about the things we didn't know before, like as internationals in the US with restrictive visas, right? If someone had come to us back then and said, oh, by the way, you can start a YouTube channel 10, 15 years ago. Yes, even as international, you can do that. And over time, you can create a brand. And we would not have believed that person because in our mind, we were like, well, we have restrictions on visa. We can't do this. We can't. It was very limited as a world. And so I want you to applaud yourself that you've come this far, because a lot of people, like I used to be, wouldn't have even tried it. Even if the good news came and said, hey, there is gold over there. You want to go check it out? There might be gold. Some people are like, no, don't bother me. I don't believe there is gold anywhere. I don't believe this is it. This is the world that I'm dealt with. This is what it's going to forever be. But for you guys to go, oh my gosh, maybe there is more. Maybe, I don't know for sure. Maybe there is more. That's already you starting to go, oh my gosh, I can trust that I can find that more, right? And Gemini, you were saying you're exhausted and you're tired. You started the journey. Can you believe that you've done it more than a lot of other people already? Because for you to be tired and exhausted, it's because you tried. You at least tried. And I feel like we need to look back and be proud of ourselves that so far we've attempted something that maybe people would have called us foolish for even starting and trying. I was thinking about it and I was saying we need to know that we've built self trust to certain extents already. It's there. We are doing good that we started something. Now, the call, right? As I was meditating on this thing, for myself, I realized as I started the journey of building self trust, there was always a call to go deeper and further. And that's maybe where a lot of people easily quit. The call to go deeper and further doesn't always look appealing. It might look like you're exhausted at first, like Gemini was saying earlier. You've tried things, you're exhausted, you want to give up. For me, that is an invitation. Yes, take a pause, take a break, take a breather, right? And I often talk about the fact that when you're doing manifestation work, this is not something you have to do 24/7. It's like going to the gym newly. You will exhaust yourself if you try to do it 24/7, right? But then how can you reframe what's going on? I'm going to take the example of me and the business I'm creating and being online and sharing, right? The old model with TikTok was you post something, it goes viral quickly. And now they've limited things. Now I can go, oh my gosh, I can complain about TikTok algorithm all day long. Or I can go, okay, what is in my power? Right? It's exhausting that I cannot do what felt easy or what worked for a long time. But there has to be many other ways I can look at, right? I can pause and go, what other way? Do I enjoy that way? Like going live, I realized I actually love going lives. And because I connect with people. So it's the same thing with building self-trust and hearing the call to go further and deeper. For you, it might not look like it's happening in the moment, but there is that invitation of, all right, you've been maybe trying to manifest a certain way for a long time, and it's exhausting and it's tiring. The call is not to quit at all. The call is to go, okay, wait a second. Maybe there's a different way to understand and approach manifestation. Oh, someone like Amado is talking about going further and deeper with the self trust. What is that? I want to know a little more. And or whether you ask me the question, okay, what do you mean by this? This is something I go deeper in with my clients as well. Or you can meditate on that. What does it mean uniquely for you to look at something differently? I think we all forget that we were children once. You know how kids don't give up easily? They will look at many ways to do something. If it's not working a certain way, they will just maybe try a different way. And then they will get frustrated and they will throw the toy and then they will come back again, right? They might get tired, but, and that's for me, by the way, with manifesting love, with and then at some point realizing, oh, it was exhausting to just try to manifest a specific person all the time. What did I do? I started understanding that, oh my gosh, what if it's more about manifesting the version of me who already has the love? Like kind of looking at things differently. That's one quality, by the way, when it comes to self-trust, right? You try to look at something you were looking at one way for a long time and it's not working. You try looking at it from a different angle to see, okay, what if this works? You approach the whole thing as an experiment. If not, you're going to just kind of hit your head on the wall because maybe you were trying techniques for forever and all you keep getting is frustration and exhaustion and tiring. That quality of children, they might not even be able to say self-trust, tell you, yeah, that's a concept, but they naturally trust that they will figure it out, right? It's figureable. Like it's like bad English, but everything can be figure out. But I realized for me when I came into manifestation and the law of assumption and I started understanding and experiencing myself as a powerful being, I realized when I come to a block, there is a way to figure out how to continue to move forward. I might not be able to see that block immediately, but I know that somehow, someone, something, a resource, something is going to come and it's going to make it click for me. And then I will go to the next step, right? So, and I'm saying this because this is a kind of like a mindset work where you have to be able to have a flexible mind, a flexible way of seeing the world. When I say the world is malleable, this is one of the things I talk about. So just that alone, I want you to tap into the energy of even telling yourself, okay, I might not know the way right at this moment, but I can figure it out. See how that energy is more like you can feel expanded way more than contracted, as opposed to the, oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. I'm exhausted. I'm going to quit. I need the answer now. You know, that like panicky, very limited, like, especially thinking about time, it needs to happen immediately. That is not as fun, and you don't feel as expanded. But when you go, okay, this sucks. I hate this moment right now. It feels like my manifestation journey is not going anywhere, but there's gonna be a way for me to figure it out. You guys have no idea how many times I told myself that the year I was learning how to manifest my specific love and then discover. I told myself that so many times, over and over and over and over again, right? And just doing that brought answers to me through the forms of coaches that I would not have even. There was a coach I hired. This was after learning about manifestation and actually manifesting my specific person. I hired a coach when I was learning to show up online and speak online, and I was freaking out and I couldn't do it. I just saw an ad. I don't even buy things through ads, but I saw this coach through an ad, and the words she spoke, everything was so powerful, and I clicked and I hired her immediately, right? She's the reason why I built the mindset and the courage to show up online. But before that, even with my manifesting love, resources, coaches, understanding, dreams, the world moved on my behalf so that I can figure out how to move forward. And that's one of the qualities for manifestation that I felt like. Who was it? I can't even think about her name now. She's in California. She was a really fun coach of mine for a year. And every time in the beginning, she would be like, Amado, did you create something today? And I'll say, yeah. Did you post the thing? And then I used to say, no, I didn't post the thing because it's not perfect. And then she was so kind and she's like, well, let's work on that. What do you mean by perfection and blah, blah, blah. But she's the reason I will say and now I have different coaches that it's not about posting, but more like structuring, understanding marketing and things like that. But I look back and I'm so thankful for her because she's the reason why I build the courage. Self trust is not something that is supposed to be elusive, that you cannot ever achieve. You are already achieving it. It's happening. You're growing in the movement. You're moving forward. Now, when you get stuck, it's not that you've grown no self-trust. You have. You have to look back and be so grateful that you've built that self-trust. And now when you kind of there's always movement. Exactly, Salty. Now when you kind of praise yourself a little bit and you're not just kind of beating up yourself and saying, oh my gosh, are you even able to manifest something? Are you even able to change something? You can go, no, I have changed certain things. I've had movement. Now I feel stuck. Also, you don't gaslight yourself in this journey. You acknowledge the fact that you feel stuck, but then you acknowledge the fact that the universe, God, something, there will be movement on your behalf at some point. Or someone earlier was asking about action. You will also be led, you will be inspired to take action. And there are so many action, right? For me, with my lack of trusting in myself to show up online early on in my journey with entrepreneurship, the action I was led to take immediately was, okay, I saw that coach, I resonated with her, boom, I hired her, right? Someone could have said back then, the old me, if the old version of me saw that version who hired the coach on the spot, she would have told her, oh my gosh, are you sure it's gonna work? Are you sure you're paying money? Are you sure you will actually show? Like so many things that I would have said to that version of me. But I was different, right? I was different. I knew, I was like, it's worth taking a risk in myself, betting on myself, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. it's worth for me to bet on myself. It's like I'm investing in myself, I'm investing in welcoming the future version of me, right? How is everyone feeling, by the way? Are we resonating so far? I'm like doing a whole masterclass today. I hadn't planned on that. I hadn't planned on that, but I just kind of felt inspired to do that. How is everyone feeling? Do you feel like, yes, Kathy? Kathy is one of my clients. I love her so much. So, do you guys feel how the energy, even in the kind of mindset I'm bringing you, is going to help you shift already, transform, kind of feel like, all right, I'm ready for the next step? A lot of times, too, when we are afraid to move forward, it's because we're thinking about the 20,000 steps. We're trying to reach something somewhere too quickly, right? We have to bring it down to, okay, what's the next step that you want to kind of show up for you, that you want to manifest? It's the same thing when it comes to manifestation. In the manifestation world, some people will tell you, oh, don't manifest the bridge, just make sure you manifest the end only. I don't believe that. I believe you will be uniquely led sometimes to manifest the bridge. And that's completely okay as long as you know you're growing in your power, you're growing in your understanding, growing in your self trust, right? And then sometimes you'll be led to just go all the way to the end or even way past the end. You already have your manifestation. Now what? Right? There's this wisdom to be had there when it comes to manifestation. I always say self-trust is the currency between you and your manifestation. You cannot abandon yourself. You cannot abdicate your power and then hope to manifest something. Now, is it possible to manifest something when you abdicate your power? 100%. The problem is, though, the thing might not look exactly the way you want. That's where people maybe sometimes experience hot and cold behavior from the SP. The SP came back, but there is hot and cold behavior. And one thing Neville Goddard says that I always love, Neville Goddard, who is the author of The Power of Your Imagination, he often talks about how when you find yourself falling in a state, a mindset that is not the best or where you want to go, like, oh, I manifested a hot and cold behavior, don't beat up yourself. Just acknowledge you've done it. You didn't mean to. That's not what you want, but you're still the one who is powerful here. You can change from that state to a better one. So you acknowledge to yourself, it's not exactly what I want. Now let me figure out. Remember that self-trust means you can figure something out when it's not working the way you want. How are we feeling? It's a great masterclass today. Any reflection questions so far since I've been sharing? But yeah, I basically felt like I've been thinking how, from what angle can I talk about self trust to click for, especially people who right now are struggling a lot to move forward. I want you to remember you already have started creating self trust. That's why you are on this journey. Now, after you've taken a break and you're tired, let's get up again and keep moving forward. Let's continue to grow in that. Saucy, yes, how do you build your self trust? And it's some of the things I already said, right, in what I shared today. To go from the kind of like zero self trust to even the beginning of that self trust was for me telling myself, okay, I might not know how to do this, but I will figure it out. And the people that I need to help me figure it out will somehow show up in my life. That's one of the steps, right? That kind of that mindset. And then when those people show up, having the courage to go, okay, that person is showing up for me. How can I show up for me as well? Right? Like at first, you kind of wait for the external, the circumstances to shift a little bit for you to have the courage to even get started. And then that shifts and then it's your turn because the calling and the answer is it's back and forth. It's not just the external shifting and then you never shift. That never gonna work. You've got to build courage too. So at some point, and for me, like I said, the self-trust kept deepening and then I kept going further, right? Like I'm looking at it now with, I was telling my husband the other day that some of the coaches I was hiring in the beginning, they are amazing, absolutely amazing values to now the ones that I'm hiring for my business. It's like, Like the investment is so much higher. And every time I'm looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. Again, building self trust is also taking action that is kind of showing yourself you're trustworthy. You're telling yourself, I am valuable, I'm worth the investment, and I trust myself. That somehow, I've had clients like that, by the way, where sometimes they would maybe just get one call with me and not the bigger packages yet, but they will get one call and then they will tell me the process of them getting that one, purchasing that one call. And they'll say, you know what, I was thinking, oh my gosh, do I want to spend that money? And then they told themselves, no, I'm going to spend it because I'm investing in myself and I'm going to learn. Even if it's not exactly what I want, I'm going to learn something. And I love those clients when they tell me that, because it's my way of thinking too. When I'm investing in myself, I'm taking action. I'm always telling myself it doesn't matter. I'm going to have a return on investment. So see how it's like you trust the circumstances, you trust God, you trust the external, plus you also trust yourself. And then you listen to yourself. What are you being moved to do or to be, right? I'm worth the investment. Exactly. Courage. So it's, and I believe, again, what you learn in the beginning of your journey of self-trust is, it's the basics. You're never going to let go of the basics, right? Even as you continue to go deepen and go further, the basic qualities of self-trust still going to be there. You still have to, because the next level, it's always like, ooh, am I doing this? Am I doing this? Can I do this? At first you're like that and you go, okay, I'm worth the investment, right? And then you go for it. And sometimes, to be honest, sometimes maybe it's not exactly what you want at first. A lot of times it actually is. And that's where the test comes, right? There's also the testing of your faith, like the Bible will say. And I look back at the old version of me. I think I allowed myself to be tested in many ways, but I felt like after I was tested, I just didn't get up to continue to. I was like, I'm done. I'm not having faith anymore. That was the me before the law of assumption, right? Which is what I used to do, kind of quit it too early on, right? Dreaming that I wanted to be with my love or what I wanted. And then I will try something a little bit and then it won't work. And then I'm like, I'm done. Ain't nobody got time for this. Like my pride took over and I just quit that dream. Now that I know about the law, I might be annoyed for a day, for a week, for a month, but I come back and I'm like, okay, we're picking up that dream again. I know it's mine to experience. And these ways seemed like it didn't work. What's going on? And then you look at the other seven fundamentals I talk about. How was I looking at my reality? What was I understanding about consciousness? What conditioning have I been putting? Oh, I'm having a block here. I'm gonna go see help. See, it's like you move, you kind of something happens, you want to quit. Maybe you quit for a day or two and then you get back again. Once you know about the law, you can't go back. Exactly. So see, I think that's one of the biggest qualities for me when it comes to the law of assumption. Because I tested it and it worked for me, I felt like I can't go back. Like it's impossible. The old ways I used to think and feel, they might come back for a second, 2 seconds a day, maybe even a week or a month. But first of all, the strength of it is not the same. Before I would just completely be gone and be lost in it. But now I'm like, I can see myself go, that's the old way. I know it doesn't feel good. I don't even want it anymore. And then you go back quickly into the new way where you continue to grow. But I love what you said, Salty. Like once you know about the law, you cannot go back. I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. Gemini, to be honest, that's where figuring out a way to get a coach is important, to figure out how to do it. So also having the mindset that the how to do it, sometimes it's one thing at a time, right? It's like, let's say maybe you don't get the coach right away, right? I'm going to give you something here that hopefully you use because I believe it's going to open up a door for you. Let's say you don't have a coach yet, but you sit down in your room and you say, I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. I don't know how I'm going to figure out how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And you drop into that energy. And then see how the universe bring, like you tell yourself, this is what I mean by you commit to your powerful self. You're honest. I don't know how to do it. This sucks, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. So either the external resources will come for you to figure it out how to do it. And a lot of times, one of the things people tell me is, okay, Amedo, I don't have money for a coach. And I'm like, well, don't let money be the reason why you feel like the answer or what you need to do can come to you. There's so many ways it can come to you if you decide that you're ready for that to come to you. Again, we're playing with energy here, right? You're in your room, you're like, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. And the people that I need to help me to figure it out, they will show up. There's some investment I made this year with my growing my business and understanding things that in the beginning of the year, if you told me how I would have figured it out, I would told you I have no idea, because I would have told you I don't know. But deciding to go, that's mine. I'm going to figure out a way to experience that. Like I did that with some of my business coaches. Doors open. Either the money showed up or I manifested it in a different way. So don't, like, the lack. This is where we're going to talk a little bit about the lack mindset. Perception of lack is really something that is more happening outside of us, right? We look at the circumstances, the means, and we're like, I'm lacking in those things. It's technically not true. You're not lacking in those things. You yourself are abundant as a being. We're all abundant as a being. Then that's where the job or the goal is to, first of all, pause and go back within and go, okay, Amedo says I'm abundant within. I don't even know what that means. I don't even believe that, right? First, honesty, best policy. You start there. But I want to know, though. I want to experience myself as abundant, right? Okay, what's that experience? Maybe it's, you say, I want to take that coaching, or I want to figure out by myself how to do this thing. Whichever you pick, whichever route you want that you resonate with. And then you trust that the abundance that is within you is going to show up for you. And maybe you even tell yourself, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to feel the energy tonight and I'm going to let go. I'm not even going to think about it because I'm exhausted. An invitation of being exhausted is to just kind of like release. You're not quitting on your dream. You're quitting on trying really hard to make your dream happen, right? So Gemini, this is what I'm going to encourage you with, right? I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. And the people that need to show up in my life to help me figure it out will show up for me. This was my journey in the beginning of my manifestation journey. I felt like, how in the world am I ever going to do this? But then I said, well, a way is going to be created for me to do it. If the law is true and I am always manifesting, and all I need to do is refocus myself right now on the energy of creating what I want, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. But see, the energy of committing to yourself that a way is going to be made, that you will create the way somehow, or people who already have created the way will show up in your life to make sure it happens for you. One of my biggest goal when I come online or when I even post my videos is to get you closer again to tasting a bit of your powerful self. I want to activate that in you so that you can go, holy cow, I feel like I can manifest my dream life. I can do it. I feel a bit more encouraged today. I don't know how, but I am willing, I am committed, I am, and then I'm going to use the tools, the resources, and the things. So, Tulsi, I was thinking, you came in asking about manifesting love. One of the 7 fundamentals for successful manifestation I talk about is self-trust. And just building this already is going to help you on your journey of manifesting love. And if you want more, you desire more support, that's what my coaching, some of my master classes, the How to Manifest Love one-on-one class, it's a really good one to start with. It's a great introduction. And it's linked in my bio if you want to If you get a one-on-one coaching with me, usually you have the master classes come free for you too. I have an abundance mindset when it comes to career, work, and school, but not relationship. Why is this area difficult for self-trust? Fauzia, it can be as simple as you created evidence for yourself around career, work, and school. You build the muscle, you practiced it. You were not necessarily born knowing that you could do all the things you could do with career, work, and school, but you kept going and proving to yourself you could do it. But with love, maybe you haven't been able to do it. But see how with career, work, and school, we allow resources to come to us to help us. Career, it's networking, or you get a degree. All of that, we allow resources. But with manifesting love, somehow, maybe a lot of people think they have to be able to do it by themselves, right? But it's good to welcome resources and help in that area as well. All right. Love everyone. Have a wonderful night.